Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that piece of music. I did as well, and let's continue to connect. You know, we are people of faith. We have to continue to pray even in this time of COVID-19. We are not scared. Yes, humanly speaking, we may be terrified because of the numbers that we are reading on the screen, on the news, and all the details that are coming, and then we can have a psychological trauma because of the negative news that we are getting of how this pandemic has ravaged the world. But it's good to know that God is still in control. He holds the whole world together. And because God is still alive, He's not dead, He's alive, there is hope for tomorrow. Now, I shared on trust. I shared on what it is to obey. But the third thing I want to introduce to you is, why is it difficult to trust somebody? Because we are talking about trust and obey. That's our theme. We want to trust God. Why is it difficult to trust? We want to trust our friends. We want to trust our relatives. We want to trust our boss. We want to trust our young brothers, our sisters, our cousins. Why is it difficult to trust one another? I'll share a few things so that you can know what it is that we need to understand about trust. Number one, society has presented itself in such a way that we live in a suspicious world, a world that is full of terror, fear, uncertainty, and mistrust. So just that presentation of the world itself is fearful. It's difficult. You'd want to give your number to somebody, you are not too sure what they'll do with it. You want to give the details of where you stay, you are not too sure why they're demanding to know where you stay. Because the world, the society that we are in is full of terror, it's full of fear, it's suspicious, you cannot trust anyone. Number two, why it is difficult for people to trust is because people change camps all the time depending on their tastes and preferences of what is happening. People change all the time. They are not predictable. Depending on what suits the time, the people will flow with the wind of the time. Whatever comes, they can flow with it. So to depend and put your life in their hands, it is actually dangerous. And that's why Jeremiah says, cursed is the man who puts his trust in his fellow man. And even David echoed that. Now, the third place why we don't trust is because people say what they don't mean, and they mean what they didn't say. They say one thing and do the other. There is a promise, but it's broken. Another promise, it's broken. The third time, you will not trust them again. Number four, the reason why we don't trust, it's because the heart of man is deceitful. It has the ability to deceive its owner. The heart of man is deceitful, and that's what even Jeremiah records, that our hearts are desperately wicked. No one can understand it. And then in the fifth place, trust takes some time to build. It is easy to trust an old man who tells you there are robbers who are coming to steal from your home than it is to believe a young boy giving you the same statement. You would rather believe the man. Now, why are you believing the man? I'm saying in the fifth place, it takes time to trust. The old man has had experience in life. The old man has lived many years and has encountered several situations, and when they speak, they do not only speak from a place of knowing, they also speak from a place of wisdom and experience. But for a boy, it could just be a word that has been spoken, and the boy has recorded it in his head, and then he tells you there are robbers that are coming after you. Now, note this. It is important to realize that actually, the reason why you are believing so much what the old man is saying is because the old man is a figure of authority. The young boy is not a figure of authority. So in believing, you are not only believing the man, you are not only believing the word, you are believing the one who is saying it. If I promise you I'll give you 1 million, you will not believe me. The reason why you will not believe me, it's because, number one, you'd want to verify if I have the capacity to give you that money. The moment you discover that my words are agreeing with my capacity, then you will believe. If my words do not agree with capacity, you will not believe. I'll give you another example as we talk about the fifth place of trust. Listen to this. If I came into your home as a minister of word and the gospel and got all the gadgets that the hospital uses to do an operation, in case you have an issue that requires an operation, and then I get a knife and begin to open you up, you actually stop me and say, no, Reverend, don't. I would rather go to the hospital, see the surgeon, and the surgeon will operate upon me. Now, the reason why you are actually choosing to go to the hospital is also a question of trust. This surgeon at the hospital has been cutting our bodies open, operating and replacing our organs, mending whatever has gone wrong for some time. And they've become trusted over some years. They went to school for 7 years and more. They've gained so much experience, and that is why we can easily give ourselves to be operated upon by them. But for me, who has had no experience in the medical field or in surgery, you will not trust me. Why? Because you are not just believing the act, you are believing the one who is doing the act. And the last thing I want to talk about the trust, why it becomes very difficult to trust. It's because one of the things that makes it difficult to trust one another is that you need to trust someone that you know. You cannot trust someone that you don't know. So if you don't know somebody, you don't know much about somebody, it becomes very difficult to trust. And this is the more reason why sometimes as believers, sometimes as people of faith, it becomes difficult for us to believe and trust on the name of our God, because we have not read much about God. We have not had an encounter of the power of God in our life. We have not experienced the miraculous in our life. So in order for us to increase our believability in God, we need to increase our knowledge of Him and our encounter of Him. That is very, very important. And that's why today, despite whatever the world is going through, I want to encourage you that it's time for us to arise and trust and obey, because the intent of God for humanity is always good. God is not after killing us. God is not after getting rid of humanity. The Bible says, for God loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, so that whoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. Meaning that the intentions of God are very good, but it's our level of unbelief. And in fact, scripturally, people will perish not because of sin, because the answer to sin has already been answered by Jesus' death on the cross. But it is their unbelief, the refusal to believe in the accomplished work of Jesus Christ, is the one on which we'll give an account on. Because God has provided the solution. He has proven that He can be trusted, but still humanity is not trusting. The Bible says some trust in chariots, others trust in their horses, but we will trust in the name of the Lord our God. Why? Because He has a proven history of dealing with humanity, where history has taught us from the children of Israel, from the different communities of faith, that they've had issues, they've had calamities, they've got plagues before, they've had disasters, they've encountered mountains, the Red Sea, but God has seen them through. At some time they even fell angry and fell hungry, but God provided the solution. At some time they sinned, but God provided the solution. They faced enemies, but God fought their battles. So because God has got a record of no failure, He can be trusted. And God is not man that He should change, nor the Son of Man that He should repent Himself. Therefore, He is calling for our trust. It is our lack of trust that actually reduces our ability to obey. Because when you know that God is the one that can provide the bag of mealie, God is the one that can provide solution to COVID-19 and download wisdom in the scientists, download wisdom in the doctors, download wisdom in the politicians, in the economists. If people have that ability to understand that God has this power, then they will begin to put their trust in God and ultimately obey the direction of God. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to stay on. This word is sweet. I want you to stay on so that we can continue to bless the Lord together. Listen to some pieces of music as I get to you on the other side.